Hello, everyone. Welcome to Toma Sessions Live with me, Richie Cruz. And tonight we have a special guest once again. Well, before for starters, so I hope you guys are in the best situation right now. Still hopeful, still positive. In fact, as far as the news is concerned, I think we're gonna have the a modified ECQ, which is good. And then Pasay has lifted liquor ban. So yay with that. Okay, so for starters, I want to show you a few stuff. So this is an iconic glass when it comes to the cocktail business, right? Now, this is called a martini glass. Now, I will show you three basic ingredients. I have a vodka lemon. I have a lime, and I have a triple sec. Okay, so basically that is a drink for what we call the kamikaze. Okay, now if you add cranberry, then what you have? A cosmopolitan. All right, a very iconic drink. The reason why I'm saying that is our next guest right now, which you can actually see on my other screen, is no other than the creator herself, you know. So without further ado, okay, let's put our hands together for Cheryl Cook. Yay! All right, Cheryl, how you doing? Welcome, welcome.
I'm good, Rich. I'm good, Richie. How are you?
Very good, very good. So thank you. Nice to have you here with Toma Session. So I gave everybody a preview of your iconic cocktail. So maybe for starters, okay, where are you now? Where are you based in the States?
I'm in Miami, Florida, on a
Nice.
rainy day during COVID-19.
Yeah, actually, yes, last night the rain here was a bit scary. It started like 2:30 in the afternoon and it stopped at about maybe 11 in the sorry, 11 in the evening or almost 12. So I really didn't sleep until like 1:30 in the morning because I had to it's a bit scary because the wind and the rain didn't stop. But thank goodness there wasn't any minor floods or anything of that kind. So that is good, basically. Okay,
Yes.
so Miami. Welcome to Miami. All right. So um maybe let's start with what we normally do in Thomas Session. So how did it start for Cheryl Cook?
Well, I started in the theater, and I have a degree in acting from Florida State University. But
Wow.
I also was in technical theater.
Okay.
So when I graduated college, I came home and told my parents that I needed to learn how to tend bar and wait tables because that's what every actor does. And
Okay.
dad wasn't very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started waiting tables. And then they asked me to come into the bar. And I came home and I said, oh, because I spent a summer with my parents after college. And I said, oh, I'm going to be a bartender. My father said, I didn't put you through 4 years of college for you to be a bartender. I said, well, you didn't put me through college. I got a free ride on a scholarship. And
Ah,
the,
rebel. Okay.
and the first day after my bar shift, at dinner, he said, well, how was the bartending? I said, oh, I made $100 today during the day shift. He said, what time do you start tomorrow?
Okay, you got him. You got him. Okay.
So, but I was always, doing both. And then I left that bar after a few years to be involved with a program called PAVAC, Performing and Visual Arts Center. And it soon became, after a few years, we did a proposal to Tallahassee, our state capital, and it's now New World School of the Arts. and it's an art school for high school students.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, when that program turned into New World School of the Arts, they hired all people from New York,
Mm-hmm.
even though we put it together.
Okay.
So I got a call from a theater company that was starting up and asked me if I would become their Actors Equity stage manager for their company. So I don't know what you know about the Actors Equity Union, but in order to be in the union, you have to do a union show, and you can't do a union show unless you're in the union. So they grandfathered me in,
Okay.
and because it was a small professional theater, the pay wasn't very good, but it was in a restaurant bar that had just opened on South Beach, and they were very, very busy. A lot of movie stars and came in, the people coming from New York. South Beach was just starting.
Mm.
And the bartenders there, they had 8 bartenders behind the bar, and you couldn't get a drink to save your life.
Okay.
So when I realized I wasn't making enough money with the theater, I asked if I could tend bar on my time off from the theater. So the owner said, "Well, come in and train with our head bartender." So I'd already watched enough to know where everything was, and I got a price list, and I studied that, and I went behind the bar. It happened to be really busy that night. And the next day, the owner said to me, "I'm very upset." I said, "Why? What?" He said, "Well, you outsold our head bartender by 5 times."
Nice.
And then he said to me, "Make me a Tanqueray martini," which I did. And I stood there, and he took a sip, and he said, "Okay, you're not allowed to have a day off for the rest of your life." So it worked out perfect. It was a beautiful bar. It was a beautiful bar. And I was able to do the theater, come out after the theater, go behind the bar. And on Monday nights were considered dark nights in the theater. I would work those nights. And basically, I was making like 5 times the amount for like 2 or 3 days
Wow.
behind the bar as I did in the
Wow.
theater. So,
Wow.
and it was, like I said, it was very interesting too, because there was so many stars that would come in. And they liked coming there because we didn't make a fuss over them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
a perfect example of that, I was having my dinner break one night, and my bar partner made a martini for a gentleman, and I watched him take a sip, and he made a face. He did not like it. And I got up and I said, behind the bar, and I tossed that drink out, and I said, "Was it vodka or gin?" He said it was Tanqueray. I made him the drink, stood there while he took a sip, and he said, pardon me, he said, "Now that is the best martini I've ever had." And I said, "Why, thank you, Mr. Scorsese."
Oh, wow.
So there were
Okay.
a lot of experiences like that, and that's where I created the Cosmopolitan at the
But
Strand on South Beach.
so what was the name? Is the bar that you started working in, is it still open now, or what's the name
No,
of that
no,
bar?
no, that closed. It was called the Rum Keg Lounge.
Rum Cake Lounge. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, now I'm curious. Let's backtrack a bit. So you really wanted to pursue an acting career from the get-go.
Yeah, well, in the theater, 'cause I always, at Florida State, being in the acting program, they wanted you to only concentrate on that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Hold on. They always wanted you to concentrate on just that, but I was always into the technical end as well. So, and I always said, the more you know, the more employable you are. So, the fact that I think being an equity stage manager helped make me a good bartender too, because you have to be very attentive and look out for everything and take charge, keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's twist the question a bit. If so, acting was really your first passion. Don't you have like a really dream profession apart from acting? I mean, if you didn't enter bartending also?
Um, well, like I said, I always seem to keep my hand in in some sort of entertainment
Okay, so you're
portion of it.
really into the entertainment. You like people. You're really a people person. You like making everybody happy, basically.
Right. But I also was very organized and like a logistical kind of master. So, and a woman that I worked with at the Performing Arts High School, she was the choreographer for a dance company. And they started, because she knew that I was an equity stage manager, started calling me to come in and help them do shows. They were doing shows all around the world. And whenever they would have more than one event, they needed someone to manage and run that event. So I would go and take off from the bar for the weekend or whatever, and go and get the file, read the file on the plane, get off the plane, and produce the event like I had put the whole thing together. And I was able to do that. Now, mind you, this was pre-internet, so I did it
Yeah,
via
yeah.
phone and fax.
Nice, nice. Yes, yes, yes. I miss using the fax, you know. It's been a while. It's been a while, really. Okay, so in terms of learning how to bartend, you learned over the years. You learned through experience. Did you have a formal schooling? Did you enroll at some point?
No, I taught myself.
Mm.
Um, basically, obviously, there's a lot of drinks that are no brainers. A rum and coke is rum and coke.
Yep, yep,
A
yep.
vodka cranberry is vodka cranberry. And I studied at home. And if somebody ordered a drink I didn't know how to make, I asked them how to make it. And once they told me, I never forgot. So,
Okay, nice, nice. Well, okay, maybe another question that is very relevant now. How was during your time being a bartender, being a female bartender in a male-dominated profession?
um, it's interesting because when I told you when I started the Strand, there were 8 bartenders and there was only one female. Um, but then there was a local dive bar on South Beach that only hired females.
Okay, okay.
So it was kind of interesting with that. I mean, I never really felt that it was a well. There was also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Joe Stone Crabs on
No.
Miami Beach. They only hired male waiters, and finally,
Okay.
in like the 90s, they finally hired their first female waiter.
Okay, and that's
Um,
you.
no, I never worked there, but it was it's a very famous stone crab restaurant, been around for maybe 100 years.
Oh, wow.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and it's there's no guarantee you get in. You can go, but it doesn't mean you're going to get a seat. But yeah, they said that the trays were too heavy for women to carry and all that. But I never really felt that kept me from. Although when the Strand sold, they sold it to a set of French brothers, and they only wanted young, pretty girls. So I was not fitting in that category. But those girls, they could spell beer, but they didn't even know where it was.
Okay, so maybe let's go also in the profession now. What was the first cocktail you made on the job or maybe at home? I mean, did you remember?
Um, well, when I first made martinis, and in fact, for all of my time on South Beach, I became known as the Martini Queen of South Beach.
Okay, okay, wow.
I It fascinated me because of the style of it, and I just felt like I was a martini purist, and that I was making it the way it was meant to be made instead of shortcuts or shaking and all of that. And I somehow was able to eyeball and be able to pour 2 at a time while talking to the customer, eyeball to eyeball, and not go over, but come right to the brim. And it was
Okay.
sort of a kind of a gimmick for me, but it would amaze people and they'd get cheers for it. But it was the style and the class of it is what intrigued me. to be the type of bartender I was, the class of it, the old school bartending class.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So, but uh, okay, let's now go to your creation. So, how did that happen? How did Cosmopolitan give was born into the world?
Well, martinis had just made a comeback when I was at the Strand, and the place was 9 deep at the bar, people waiting just to have drinks, to have dinner. And I was noticing women ordering martinis. And I would watch them take a sip, but then I'd watch them make a face that they don't like.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that the reason they were ordering it was they wanted a drink in that glass, that iconic glass that you showed at the very beginning in your intro. And I thought to myself, well, I can make a drink that they'll like and put it in that glass, and it should be good and tasty. Absolute Citron had just come out. They were doing a test market in Miami, and my liquor rep said, Cheryl, come up with a drink to use this in. At that particular point, I was a beer drinker, like I understand you like.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked an occasional shot, and the shot I liked was a kamikaze.
Yes, yes.
So I'm like, well, Absolute Citron would be great in a kamikaze. And let me just throw a little teeny bit of cranberry, just enough to make it oh so pretty and pink. And I'll use a twist as a garnish because citron, lemon twist. And a friend of mine came in, and the night I made it, she came in and she sat at one end of the bar, and I said to her, let me make this drink and tell me what you think of it. And she did. She took a sip and she said, oh my God, I love it. Now, what are you going to call it? And a girl that worked as a maitre d' happened to be Cosmopolitan magazine at that particular time had come out with an article called When the Maitre d' is a She, and she was one of the featured ones. And the cover was pink. And once that magazine came out, nobody could walk through the door without her shoving that magazine in everybody's face.
Of course, of course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right as my friend said, what are you going to call it? We both looked up and saw her shoving the magazine in someone's face. And I said, Cosmopolitan. And we both giggled because it had become a big joke about her shoving that magazine in everybody's face. So we're like, perfect. I'd say within 30 minutes, every single person at the bar had one in their hands. And within an hour, the entire restaurant had ordered one.
Nice. Okay,
In the meantime, my friend left and went across the street to another bar, the Lasso Lounge. And our friend Bob Dean, who was the bartender there, she told him what I'd made for her and how I made it. So he made them each one, and they loved it. Then the phone behind the bar started ringing. And it was all the other bars in town, the bartenders calling me because the people had left the restaurant and gone to other places and said, okay, Cheryl, everybody's asking for this Cosmopolitan. How do you make it? And by the end of the night, everyone on the beach knew how to make it. And it went crazy on the beach from then.
Okay. Wow, 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 wow. So now you heard it here at Toma Sessions, how Cosmopolitan came to birth, no? Okay, so this is maybe a typical question that people who created cocktail would get asked. So what is the real, okay, would it matter to you, let's say you're judging a Cosmopolitan contest on what cranberry juice is going to be used or what vodka is going to be used or what, does that matter to you, especially that you're the proponent of the cocktail?
No, but it needs to be a lemon flavored vodka. So some people make them without that, and I think that's just wrong.
Okay.
Dale DeGroff made his with Cointreau. I used triple sec because you use so little I thought it was just a waste
Yeah.
from a bar manager
Yep.
type
Yep.
position.
I
It's too
agree.
expensive. So, I never even would have thought about that.
Oops, sorry, I
And
control. Just kidding.
no, it's okay. And certainly that's, is acceptable. It is a type of triple sec, just an expensive
Yes,
type.
yes, yes, yes,
Um,
exactly.
and I mean, if there were more parts, then yes, but, like a golden margarita, but, for just a few drops, it just, economically, it didn't make sense to me.
Yep.
And at the Strand, we always use fresh juices, fresh lime juice, fresh orange juice, fresh squeezed. But I didn't use that because in a kamikaze, it didn't call for that. It called for Rose's lime juice. And that's what I had based it off, was a kamikaze. So now would I say that it's wrong to use fresh lime juice? No, it's just up the game some, but it wasn't my intention at that time.
Okay. Since you mentioned Rose's lime juice, I mean, not for anything else. What's your opinion on that? Do you like? Do you like using?
Well, it's like 2 drops. You know, it's 2 drops.
So just a
But
touch, really. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's literally like 2 drops is what I used. That it wasn't like, a half a teaspoon. It was 2 drops. So
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it really wouldn't make a difference. No, but I mean, uh, the lime juice itself, because me personally, um, I'm not a fan of that lime cordial, because it has this aftertaste, maybe like I don't know, it's not fresh. I mean, it's a personal preference, and it kind of, if you would mix that, let's say, with the juice, for example, let's say like a cranberry juice, that's the last taste that I would have, as compared to the if maybe the tannin of the cranberry. Because for me, if I'm drinking a Cosmo, I would always look at the lingering taste of the cranberry juice at the end, because
mhm.
I know that because I'm also a fan of Cape Cod and the Kamikaze. Actually, I'm, well, just like you, apart from beer, once upon a time in the 90s, vodka is part of our diet. So we play around with the vodka, basically. But yeah, I mean, so you're okay with that? You're good with the cordial, with the rose lime cordial?
Yeah, I mean that's what I made them with. But I know it's changed in many recipes, and that's fine too. Everyone has their own. But the way what I was after at the time, and like I said, they were a big hit.
Yeah,
Wherever I worked, there was a line out the door for me to make the Cosmopolitans while my
yeah.
bar partners were filing their nails.
So what's your cranberry at that time? Are you using ocean spray?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, Ocean
okay,
Spray
okay,
was the deal. I don't think we've ever used. I have never used anything other than Ocean Spray.
okay. All right. Yeah. Now, during those times that you were hustling in the bar, so basically, you do free pour rather than use the jigger during
Yeah,
those.
no, I was able to. I learned that early on to be able to eyeball the first bar I worked in. We had to use the jigger. I used it once, and then I was able to prove that I could pour right. So I know I used it like one day.
Okay. All right.
Um,
So
but yeah, knowing the glass, and once you've filled your glass with ice and you pour it once, you see where it lays. So it was easy to just eyeball it.
okay, this is a curious question. So during that time, when you assemble the Cosmopolitan, would you assemble it first without ice, then put ice?
And
Or
no, you put
ice?
ice in the glass and then soda water or water to chill the glass. Then I'd use a mixing glass and as like fill that with ice, make the drink, stir it, not shake it, stirred it, and then poured it, strained it over into it.
Okay,
And then
okay. So
when
it's
I worked at when I
Yeah,
worked at the Park Central on Ocean Drive, I had a glass chiller, so I was able to pull the martini glasses out smoking,
chilled. Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
and that was a beautiful thing. I love that.
So your procedure is stir and strain,
Yes.
because you don't want to bruise it. You want it very very elegant, very velvety,
Well, and there's also um, it to me it shows style too while you're mixing the
very,
drink. I mean, you're the stylish bartender that's making the drink, not slopping one together. And I was always able to judge the temperature by my hand on the side of the glass.
yes, yes,
A
yes.
lot of bartenders won't, they don't want to take the time to chill it enough.
Okay. Okay, wow. So basically, okay, so do you remember if you're using a pint glass or the old style of the Boston shaker at that time? So is that a 1:1 drink?
Yes.
You were using like 5 ounce to 7 ounce martini glass at the time.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Wow. 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 Okay. Okay. Now that's interesting. Okay. So fast forward. So where did Cosmopolitan take you?
Well, I created that in 1987, and it wasn't until 2006 I found out that Gary Regan had given me credit for creating it. And
Nice.
it was quite by chance the way I found out, because again, this was all pre-internet,
Yeah.
and I was at this point doing traveling with a dance company worldwide, and I had moved to St. Petersburg, Florida, to take a job with a big event company.
Hmm.
And the girl that I first made the Cosmo for called me and said I actually had taught her to 10 bar, and she was a bartender at the Delano at the time on South Beach. And she told me in the phone call that a German customer had come to her and asked for a drink that she'd never heard of. So she walked back to the chef's office to Google how to make it. And what she did, tell you about other drinks, it said the Cosmopolitan. So she like clicked on that and looked, and it said that I had created. She's like, "Oh my God." And she said, "You've been given credit for it all this time, and I never knew." And that's when I started reading about it and found out Gary Regan had been looking for me for years. Rest his soul, bless his heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I finally got to meet him face to face in 2015, which was a big high point for me. I was thrilled with that. But so it took from 1987 to 2006. I had no idea that any of that was taking place. So, and again, like I said, I was not really in the business at the time. I was doing events worldwide and wasn't reading Bartender. He had put out ads looking for me in Bartender magazines, which I wasn't reading, and there was no internet. And anyway,
Yeah, no, I
so
mean, it's really different before, the rich. In fact, in a way, it has its pros and cons. If you don't really want to be disturbed by people, it's okay. There's no way to reach you unless you're close to a landline, right? Or a payphone and you want to call anybody. No, I was there. I lived that time and
well, that's funny. My group of friends that I hang out with pre-COVID, one of them's much younger. And
mm,
I mentioned one day, I said, "Oh, it was pre-internet." He's like, "Pre-internet? What's that?" Like,
exactly. It doesn't. Some of the people today are really clueless about the Y2K bug and what's happening before. It is, and in fact, for you to learn, I mean, us who would say to teach ourselves during the time that there were only encyclopedias and dictionaries and
and libraries.
libraries and talking to people, it was really yeah, a lot of respect to that generation. I had to also learn at the time from scratch, and the time that the internet came to play, that was like I told you, I that was the time. Actually, it was how do you call it? Until this day anyway, you have to be first to for at least you guys know how to document something. Okay, oh, this is what I did, or maybe somebody writes about you, and then so that at least the future generation would know, because sometimes we drink something just for the sake of drinking it. You know what I mean? It's like um nothing. It's there. It's a drink. It's a cocktail. I'll get drunk, and then okay. So what? Do I have to? But for me, I feel that as a bartender, we're responsible for that story. At least, I mean, if we really know something about a certain cocktail or a certain product that would make the guest more informed about what is drinking, like a trivia, unless the guest doesn't care or they don't want to know about the story, they just want to drink, then that's another story. But yeah, that's great. But you were talking, I read in your article that you were a judge for Diageo at some point, right?
No, I wasn't a judge, but I was called in. They had a program, or they do have a program, not in Miami any longer, but
Oh, okay.
Miami was
Sorry.
the first one in the States that started up a program that they started in the islands called Learning for Life. And they called me in to first to do a guest speaker spot about the
Okay, okay.
Cosmopolitan,
Okay.
but then they hired me to teach a 1 week bartending course. And as
Oh,
you
okay.
know, you can't learn a 10 bar a week. But what the program was that I really loved about it too, it's a program that helps people.
Sorry, you're breaking up.
I'm
Your
sorry.
voice is breaking up.
It was Can you hear me now?
One more, not yet.
Okay. How about now?
One more.
Hello.
Hello. It
Hello.
became it became
Okay. How about now?
okay a little bit, but it's a bit funny. It's muted. It muffled. It's like a muffled voice.
Okay. Sorry. Is that better?
Oh, uh,
Is that better?
a little bit. Okay, yeah. Continue. Sorry, that's technology.
Um, it's a program called Learning for Life,
Yeah.
and it's to help people that need a hand learning a skill to become employable.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
And
Nice. Nice.
yeah, it was great. And then once they finished the whole, it was free. Diageo paid for it. It was done out of Florida International University. They
Mm-hmm.
had to apply for the program, interview, and if they got accepted, it was a total of 8 weeks, and they would graduate with certificates, and then Diageo would pay for them to do a 2 week internship. So it was a great, and then by the time it was all over, 90+% of the students had full-time work, and it was so rewarding seeing people come in with like no hope and leaving with a whole new outlook on life. So what happened was in 2015, Diageo's world-class bartending competition was coming to Miami. So they hired me, instead of doing a 1 week course, they hired me to write a 4 week bartending course. And that's all they would teach that time. And I would teach it. And when I finished teaching the course, the students graduated. And as soon as they graduated, World Class was here in Miami. And my students became assistants to the World Class bartending competition. And
Nice.
that's where I
Nice.
finally got to meet Gary Regan face to face. He
Nice.
was a he was a judge of that, and it was incredible. The students were so thrilled, and the owner of Kettle One, Bob Noel, had he actually gave them their certificates and gave them an autographed bottle of Kettle One as part of their graduation present.
Nice.
So it
Nice.
was a
Nice.
really great experience, and the students were just thrilled with it. And I got to meet some of the bartenders I'm on Facebook with that were judges that I'd been on Facebook with for several years. I got to meet them face to face too, so it was very exciting for me as well.
Nice. Well, I'm curious. So, have you always been based in Florida?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, with the dance company, I traveled worldwide. We did a show at the convention center in Singapore. We were in practically every state, Hawaii a lot, Puerto Rico a lot, Mexico, Canada.
But how often would you stay in a place? That's the question, though.
Well, the show would be one night, so we'd fly in the day before, rehearse all day the day of, do the show, and fly out the next day.
Okay, so yeah, so exactly. So your main HQ basically. So Cheryl Cook lives in Florida. That's it. So
Yeah.
you didn't really explore.
Yeah, no.
So that's
No,
yeah. Go ahead.
I had a few job offers outside of Florida, but my parents were getting up there in age. My mom was 40 when she had me. My dad was 41. So at that point I couldn't really be too far from them, being an only child.
Family first.
You know,
Yep. Got it.
I need to, and that's kind of how I wound up back here. I'm in my house that I grew up with. I came home for a 2-week vacation to see them. I was coming very regularly to help out. They were in their 90s.
Wow, really?
And I came home for 2 weeks for Christmas in 2009. And the minute I walked in the door, I knew I couldn't leave. So I literally had to walk away from my job. I had to leave my apartment. I couldn't even unload my apartment until 13 months later. But my father went first. And then 15 months later, my mother went. And they'd been married 67 years.
Wow.
But they got to, be in their home, and, you do what you got to do for family.
Yep. I feel you. I feel you on that. Well, we are only two in the family, and we're still pretty much living with my mom. So there's three of us. And yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you totally. Because the reason why I ask that is being a bartender yourself, and you got this iconic cocktail. I mean, was there like an itch for you to move to New York? You know what I mean?
No, like I said, I had job offers at one point. I think it was in 2006. There was an event magazine called Event Solutions, and they had yearly awards, and it was international voting and nominations. And I was a finalist for Creative Director of the Year, which was a huge honor. Like I said, it's international voting. And from that, no COVID, just smoke or cough.
No worries. Judgmental.
From that nomination, I was offered a couple of big time jobs that I would have had to relocate out of state, but and at a very high beginning salary with bonuses and all that. It was kind of hard for me to turn it down, but I said, at that point, I couldn't be, and it would have been nonstop events worldwide, and I just couldn't take that risk of not being there for my mom and dad.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Moving forward. So, what are you into now? So, life after Cosmo, or I think you're still. I see, as I remember, yeah, you're still making Cosmo pretty much. But what are you into now? Where is Cheryl Cook?
Well, I kind of semi-retired. I was doing some events with a friend of mine who has an event company. Obviously, right now there's no events going on, but those kind of started drying up, and I just sort of felt like I was semi-retired. I took over the house that I was raised in, and just enjoying my kind of golden years, or almost golden years. And then I finally got a little bored with that, so I decided at the Learning for Life program was wonderful. It was a perfect job for me. I loved it. I loved that I felt like I was giving back to the community, helping people. But then their funds ran out. It was a granted program, so they stopped doing that. And then I was like, well, okay. So I did a lot of pet sitting, and then I decided, all right, I need a job. And just to get out of the house. So not that I needed a job, but of course, it doesn't help to have some income flowing in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I applied at Total Wine and More because they have a classroom there as well. And sure enough, I didn't hear from them for a while, but I got hired, went in, and the second day I got there, we were just starting our training, and literally all hell broke loose because everyone was afraid that they were going to close the liquor stores. So the
Perfect
place,
timing.
we kind of got thrown to the wolves, and the whole deal was I would be the spirits expert, and I think they have something like 3,000 spirits and 8,000 wines.
Wow, wow, wow.
It's like an adult candy store,
Yeah.
really.
Wow, 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 wow.
But the deal would be that I would be the spirits expert and help people out. But they also did tastings and classes and demonstrations, and then I would be part of all of that.
Mm-mm.
But they had to stop the tastings and all of that due to the virus. So here I am starting a job, and now all of a sudden we all are required to wear masks, and then the clients the customers are required to wear. So I am the new mask police, people counter, and cart cleaner
Nice,
at
nice,
Total
nice.
Wine and More. And we get back to semi-normal, which I really don't see happening as quick as they think it's going to. Then I will start doing demonstrations and classes and becoming more of the spirits guide, the spirit guide.
Yes, yes, the spiritual guide. So is that you work near your home? Do you walk it or
nine
drive it?
9 minutes away, so you gotta love that.
Okay, nice. That's the perfect job now, no? Especially in the golden years. I mean, almost golden years. No, I love that. I mean, even well, my first formal job before I opened the bar school, it was a 20-minute drive. Now it's a 15-minute walk. So I mean, you're still ahead of me in 6 minutes, but yeah, it's no complaint. I was there actually this morning. We had to check the site because it rained hard, and I think we had to do some minor repairs because here if it's hot, it's really hot. So some of the what do you call this, the trimming, the fittings on the roof or the paint was like dried up, and we had to make some
Oh well.
repairs today. Okay, well, another question that I want to ask is, how do you compare the bartending scene during your time or our, well, I would say little our generation versus the generation now?
um that's actually a pretty interesting question because when I was teaching for the Diageo program, I was teaching a little bit of today and a little bit of yesterday. Because in my day and on South Beach, it was to me, I always kept the style, I always kept the elegance and the classiness of the bartending, as opposed to, like I used to say, I'm a martini queen, not a Jägermeister shot girl. And there's a big difference in that. And I don't
Yes.
mean to sound judgmental over people that just pour Jägermeister shots by any means, but it was a speed business too,
Yes.
and it was all about the speed. I mean, I could out I could make more drinks than anybody else in a short amount of time, and that's really what it's all was all about.
Yeah, you hustle,
Now
you make the
it's
money. Yeah.
and now it's more about, well, okay, let me go make that nectar for that. I'll be back in a half hour. I don't know. It's just gotten a little bit too, I think.
Performance. You're in the
Yeah.
theater, so you have to know it's more performance now. Huh?
Well, I felt like I was a performer, but the classy, um, old school way.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I felt like that I was on stage then too, but I wasn't about. And back then too, South Beach was definitely walkable or
Mm,
taxi,
mm.
cheap taxi cab would drive away. So it wasn't so much as, okay, you've had 2 drinks, that's all for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really. Those were the heydays of drinking, no?
Yes,
The 90s
yes,
were really the heydays. I
yes,
have
they
to
were.
agree. I mean, even here, even the way street parties are done now compared before, oh my goodness, it's. I miss it. I miss those days. But I mean, it's also good. Like in the
Yeah,
Philippines, exactly, because now there's more thirst. There's more thirst for learning. There's more thirst for awareness. There's more thirst also for investing on brands, which is good overall for the community. But okay, let's go back to the speed. You were saying, I'm wondering, how do you keep up with the speed when you're doing steered Cosmos, for example?
well, I was good, and I'd have several mixing glasses. And when I worked at the Park Central, we used to do a martini Monday night, and we would go through 8 cases of Absolute Citron making Cosmos on a Monday night.
Wow.
And and the owner saw how, I mean, it was, kind of hard. So he actually had hand blown um, pitchers made that I could make 2 or 3 in, that the strainer fit right on top, and that was a big help.
Okay. So one more thing, before we get, well, I have this game. It's called the fast talk. So late after this, we'll go to the fast talk. Um, so basically, Cosmopolitan, since based on what you said about the history or why you made it, so do you really consider, or do you really had the intention of Cosmopolitan specifically for ladies as a cocktail?
Oh no, no, there are just as many men, if not more, on South Beach that drank them.
Okay, okay. So this is
I mean, it was the drink, but I mean, I specifically made it because I watched so many women order the martini for that, and they just didn't like it.
yeah,
And not to say that women don't enjoy a martini, but the particular women that I was watching
did it.
weren't. But it
Yeah.
led me to believe that it doesn't have to be a martini to go in that glass.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking is because there's still this stereotype that cocktails are for ladies. On that side of the shelf, it's like if you look if you order a pink drink, there's this. Well, not. I mean, people have been open minded, but there's still that percentage of what do you call it, bar patrons that would have that notion if it's a colored drink or it's a pink drink or it's a red drink that is for girls. What's your take about that?
That's just nonsense. they, they just like they just like the drink. If they like the drink, they don't care what color it is.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So now let's play a fast talk. Fast talk is very easy. So I'll just ask you a question, two questions. You have to pick one. Okay. So I'll mention two items. You pick one. So first thing that pops out in your mind. So I'll ask you about maybe 10 questions. Okay. So
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
One, jazz or pop?
Jazz.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Plane or train?
Train.
Oh, okay. Why? Why? So
But not a long distance one. But for like throughout Florida, I prefer the train
okay.
because it takes you can drive there faster, but it's just nice to see the countryside, and the seats are more comfortable than planes.
Okay. I feel you. I feel you. Okay, next. Shaken or stirred?
Stirred.
Okay. Lemon or lime?
Lime.
Okay. Scotch or beer?
Scotch.
Okay. Uh Cigarette?
That's only That's only because when I switched to Scotch from beer, I
Uh-huh.
said I started losing some weight. I said I was on a Scotch diet.
Okay. Yeah, because well, same. Well, both are barleys anyway. Both are what do you call this? They have the same raw ingredient. But yeah, beer have more carbs. So
Calories.
yeah, I feel you. And calories, yes. Okay, next, fish or chicken?
Chicken.
Okay. Um, red or white wine?
Neither.
Neither. Okay, so you're not really a
No,
wine drinking
not at all.
type of girl. Okay, why is that? I'm just curious.
I just, I don't like the taste of it, and I don't like the way it makes me feel.
Oh, okay.
Liquor's quicker.
Oh, yes, yes, of course. Just like that, it goes as a whistle. Okay, I
Yeah, no, I just never acquired a taste for it. I mean, I could have a sip or two of white or red, but that's never been my thing.
okay. All right. Now, next, bourbon or brandy?
Bourbon.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, because of Scotch, I guess I like the dark liquors better.
Okay.
And brandy's just too harsh.
Okay. All right. Um, and lemon or lime?
Oh, you asked that. I said
Oh,
lime,
sorry, lime.
now I'll say
But
lemon
why?
because it's about equal.
Okay.
I like the both. I don't really use either though. I
Okay.
used to squeeze a lemon in my scotch and water.
Okay. This is one thing I wasn't able to ask you a while ago. For garnish, right? So the proper cosmopolitan. I saw in your picture that the the lime is
A
in
lemon.
the lemon.
Lemon.
Sorry, lemon is squeezed and dropped in the drink, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a twist.
Okay. So it's a twist. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
And the
the
style that you saw was at a party that they threw for me at the Delano Hotel when the city of Miami Beach gave me a proclamation as part of their 100-year anniversary for having created the Cosmopolitan. And the Delano Hotel threw a big party. About 300 people showed up, and Absolute Citron sponsored the party, and they made the twist the same way we used to make the twist at the Strand,
okay.
which
So
is
that's the proper garnish. So
right.
lemon twist. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did that because Citron is lemon, so I went with the same a
Yes.
matching
Yeah.
a matching garnish.
So, but it doesn't because me, I would use lime. Just because of the I want the okay. Lemon is a bit sweeter, so than lime. So if I'm using more well cranberry, of course, I wanna like balance it off. So no,
Well, like I said, I did it because citron is lemon, so
yeah.
I stuck
Okay.
with it.
All right. All
With
right. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it. That's our fast play. It's really very light and well the choices. I mean, I'm a coffee person too, but I do drink tea when necessary, especially if I want a lesser. I don't know. I have a bit of palpitation in coffee rather than tea. So some
well, I've gotten to where I only have one cup in the morning, and that's it.
okay, good for you, good for you. Okay, Cheryl. By the way, one more thing. Have you considered writing any books?
Yeah, actually, I have, and I've also been had in mind playwriting as well. So, and a play that I've had in mind for a long time would take place in a bar, and actually, that's where it would take place in
Hmm.
a bar, and the patrons are the bar guests, and the characters are the bartenders.
Nice. Okay.
But I haven't sat down to write any of that yet. But
Now that would be good. I mean, it's about time to have the next Cocktails and Dreams movie. They haven't really, it hasn't really followed up. I mean, the Hey Bartender is well, it's a documentary rather than a movie. So I think yeah. Me, I was toying around with that idea of doing like a short movie or a short story about the bartender, because no one really made up that type yet. It would be good if you can do it, especially in your part of the world, so that at least can be released even in, well, we have many platforms now, not just in the big screen. So we have the small screen, we have this small screen now. So that's how we roll now. And so yeah, I hope you can do that. Let me know. I'll be one of the first few people to fall in line to watch it. Okay, so Cheryl, can we ask for a final words of inspiration to our viewers?
Yeah, Richie, we had talked about it a little bit earlier, but for all your viewers, hang tough. We're in a very unusual situation. It's a whole new world. Keep striving for what you like, and hopefully it's all going to come back soon for all of us. And that we could all raise a glass, whether it be through Zoom or face to face, without a mask.
Yeah.
Stay strong, stay tough, be safe.
Okay.
Cheers to everybody.
Cheers. By the way, sorry, a postscript. How is Florida now in the COVID situation?
I'm sorry. Say that
How,
again. It's starting to pour again.
okay. How is Florida now in the COVID situation?
We became Miami, South Florida, became a hot spot. Our governor is not very smart. He allowed the beaches to be open during spring break, and then all those kids traveled throughout the U.S. spreading the disease. They're trying to force it open, and I think they're doing it too soon. But people are more aware and being more careful. When they first started having to wear masks, there were some really nasty people about it, but now they've complied more and they understand. So, like I said, it's a whole new way of, try and
Okay.
do what we think is right.
Okay. So another postscript. So is cocktails to go a thing there in Florida now? Is that business?
No,
Well,
no.
not really. Okay.
But like I said, at Total Wine and More, it's like Disney World. They pile in there thinking that they won't get a chance to buy another bottle.
Okay. So panic buying, panic buying, huh?
Yeah, right, right.
All right. So, but do you see? Do you already have like a vision of what's the new normal now in the bar business?
No, no, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
city of Miami is acting smarter than our government. So some of the things he's told us to go ahead and do, Miami's not doing yet. They're taking it on their own. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Thank you very much once again, Cheryl.
Thank you, Richie. It was fun. I'm glad to finally meet you
Yes.
face to face
Yes. Yes.
after a few years of us being on Facebook together.
Exactly. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy and honored to know the story behind Cheryl Cook, and I wish you all the best. And
Same to you.
if ever you have the chance to fly to Philippines, give me a holler and I'll take you around.
Will do. We love that.
All right.
Good night.
Okay. So thank you very much. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye, Richie.
All righty.
Uh,
Okay. So yes, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Cheryl Cook, the inventor of the Cosmopolitan cocktail. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did talking with her. And for those who are viewing right now, please don't forget to subscribe our channel, Toma Sessions, or Richie Toma Sessions in YouTube. And follow us on our Instagram also, Toma Sessions, or Instagram at Richie Cruz. So again, let me repeat that. In YouTube, Richie Toma Sessions, subscribe in our channel, and Instagram, it's at Richie Cruz, Cruise. Okay, so with that, have a safe day. Okay, keep safe, keep clean, wear a mask, and if you don't have any reason to go out, stay at home.